I hope we're in for a civil, intellectual evening tonight, but being that this is a university, and I have a lot of experience with universities, I've been on about 400 campuses, I'm going to hold my breath on that one. You can't get a good education if they're only telling you half the story. Everybody understands this. You watch, a court show. If there's only a prosecutor commenting on the case and there's no defense attorney, you know you're not getting the whole story. And that's true with all controversies in human affairs. And controversies really dominate human affairs. So I'm sorry to tell you, but if you're in the liberal arts program at this university, you're not getting a good education. I've talked to the students here. They can identify 3 or 4 conservatives on the liberal arts faculty, all of whom are in the closet. Conservatives actually outnumber so-called liberals. I don't like to call them liberals because they're really leftists. Something like 40 to 20. But, even assuming that there's a 70-30 split or whatever, the university campuses are practically conservative-free, the faculties. How does this happen? Well, it happens because of the largest and most successful blacklist in the history of this country. McCarthy, I went to Columbia. I was a Marxist, actually, at Columbia in the McCarthy era. McCarthy never had the kind of influence to persecute Marxists, certainly not on college campuses, that Marxists, faculty Marxists at this university and others have today. McCarthy was outside the university community, and the university community was hostile to McCarthy. Closely related to this academic principle is the principle of free speech. And I think one of the problems that we face as a nation is that people take far too for granted the privileges and the rights that they have. There is no more important right than the right of free speech. And that doesn't mean that anybody could stand up right now and start ranting at me. Free speech means the ability to find a platform in which you can express your ideas. Every single right you enjoy is dependent on free speech. Because if you don't have free speech, if people can be attacked for their ideas and driven out of the public square, then you can't defend any of your rights. Then you have a one-party system and a one-orthodoxy society. And I have to tell you that free speech is under attack, systematic attack, on our college campuses by the political left, by people who call themselves progressives and are always screaming that that McCarthyism, people are always persecuting them. But in fact, they are the persecutors and the witch hunters. This event is taking place under a cloud of intimidation. There's been so much intimidation to prevent what you're witnessing right now is me speaking in one room on a university campus of 45,000 people, I don't know how many rooms. Yet groups on this campus, I will name them, the Muslim Students Association, Students for Justice in Palestine, and Jewish Voice for Peace, have led a campaign to vilify and demonize not just me, but of course, because I'm not come and I go, but the students who have sponsored me, and to try to prevent them both from holding this evening and also putting up the wall of lies which was on display today on this campus. And actually, one of the threats was so serious enough that the campus security notified my security that there was a threat made against me. I will probably discuss that later in the evening. But the fact that I have to come, I don't go to a campus without a bodyguard. And the reason is I've been physically attacked on several occasions on universities' campuses, but also that there is such hatred directed at me. I'm misquoted, misrepresented in my quotes, that I have to take seriously the possibility that some deranged individual or group of individuals might want to do me bodily harm. And this is true of many conservative speakers. It's not true of any leftists. Not true of any leftists. This event has been, I've been called a racist, an Islamophobe, and demonized in that way. Just this weekend, you had a loon who I happen to have known when I was a leftist, who, a Jew, who traveled to Lebanon to meet with Hassan Nasrallah, who said that he hopes that all of us Jews gather in Israel so he won't have to hunt us down globally, and went to kiss his ring. And this loon just recently has said Barack Obama is a murderer, that Barack Obama murdered Osama bin Laden, and that if anybody should be assassinated, it's George Bush, because he's a much greater monster than Osama bin Laden. Now, of course, I'm speaking of Noam Chomsky, who lost his mind 30 or 40 years ago, but is a great icon among so-called progressives on college campuses. But the point is, nobody attacked. There wasn't an attempt to intimidate groups from supporting Noam Chomsky. He was allowed to come and say whatever he had to say. The fact of the matter is there was only one. There were several campus groups that would support what I have to say tonight. But only one had the courage to invite me and to put themselves on the line and in the line of fire, which is college Republicans, and I thank them for that. There are other ways that you can express yourself. One is by putting up the wall, which came under enormous attack. The wall is it just refutes 10 lies on which the entire Palestinian case against Israel and the entire case of the left, including Jewish Voices for Peace, is based. Now, I condensed the 10 statements into one and published it in the New York Times. And then I attempted to get the Daily Bruin to buy a page in the Daily Bruin so that UCLA students might see another side. Of course, UCLA students don't tend to see another side because the faculty is all left. It's another reason. I could have been invited by a faculty member. In 400 speeches that I've given on university campuses, I've been invited 3 times by faculty. 3 out of 400. The left should be ashamed of itself for doing this. I mean, I understand why the left does it. One of the reasons it does it is the left should be ashamed of itself for doing this. I mean, I understand why the left does it. One of the reasons it does it is it really can't answer the arguments of conservatives. If they could, they would do it. I'll come back here next week and debate anybody. Well, not anybody. I won't debate, let's say, I'll debate a faculty member who will speak for the left on the issues I'm speaking on tonight. Any faculty member. But that's not going to happen because the left cannot meet the arguments. The effort here to shut down criticism. Now, why am I hated by the Muslim Students Association and Students for Justice for Palestine? I'm hated because I pointed out that the Muslim Students Association was created by the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is an organization that supported Hitler, that said when Israel was created in 1948 that if the Jews create a state, then we will push them into the sea. This is Hassan al-Banna. It's the organization in which Osama bin Laden learned the form of Islam that led him to be a terrorist. It is the organization, the Brotherhood, that created Hamas. During Palestine Awareness Week on this campus, if you looked on the wall, the so-called apartheid wall, this is what I call Hate the Jews Week, Palestine Awareness Week, and Israel Apartheid Week. Israel is the only country in the Middle East that's not an apartheid state. It's the only place where if you're gay, you not only can live in peace and not be afraid of being hanged from cranes the way they do it in Iran, but you actually can hold a gay pride parade. The only place in the Middle East where there's a gay pride parade. The only place, there are 56 or whatever there are Muslim countries, not one of them could you hold a gay pride parade and not, without fearing of being lynched and probably being lynched. Israel is the only one. And yet these groups, the Muslim Students Association, Students for Justice in Palestine, and Jewish Voice for Peace, call Israel an apartheid state. And the only reason that they can do this is because there's a great silence on this campus by faculty who should know better. Why aren't there adult voices on this campus saying, this is just wrong? Why aren't there progressives, faculty members, saying this is just wrong, Israel apartheid? First of all, it violates every principle of respect for the other that this university claims to uphold. Muslims are protected on this campus. Blacks are protected on this campus. Hispanics are protected on this campus, but not Jews. Jews have to walk by the apartheid wall accusing other Jews of stealing a whole country and oppressing a people. And on this wall, they have to witness as a saint. And I'm talking about the wall on the UCLA campus. Sheikh Yassin, personally responsible for the murder of 369 innocent Jews, solely because they were Jews. They were not military officers. They were Jews. They were not a threat to anybody. They were just Jews. Hamas, I will lead you. This is really simple. And if there's anybody from Jewish Voice for Peace who wants to explain these quotes, go ahead when the question period comes. Yusuf al-Qaradawi is the recognized spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. During the events in Egypt in February, he spoke to 1 million adoring Muslims in Cairo. And we recall that the Muslim Brotherhood created Hamas, which is an organization adored by the MSA, the whatever it is, SJP, and the Jewish Voices for Peace. Here's what Qaradawi said. The last punishment of the Jews was carried out by Hitler. Allah willing, next time it will be at the hand of the believers. In other words, we Muslims will finish the job. The founder and head of Hamas, Mahmoud al-Zahar, said, "There is no place for you Jews among us, and you have no future among the nations of the world. You are headed to annihilation." That's Jews. The Speaker of the Gaza Parliament, Hamas, of course, is the government of Gaza. certain